Welcome back to Same Right Fashion Academy YouTube channel for another interesting tutorial. In this tutorial, I'll be teaching you how to sew this BUBU kaftan with facing and drawstrings. It also has a puff sleeve as well. So this BUBU kaftan is actually looking very beautiful, as you can see, and the facing part of it can be beaded, it can be stoned. It depends on how you want to design that part. So this is what I came out with. You can see I have my facing and I have my puff sleeve and my drawstring looking exactly like what we have on the thumbnail and on the video. So you can see what I got there, although I did not stone or bead, but I'm going to do that later. So I will encourage you to stone that part or bead that part. You can also rock it plain, it's also fine and good. So if this is what you want to learn in this class, I will encourage you to stay till the end of this tutorial. So I'm making use of 3 yards of Ankara fabric for this project. So this is my 3 yards. I'm going to place my 3 yards on fold. So I've already placed it on fold. So after placing it on the first fold, the next thing I'm going to do is to place it on another fold. So I'm going to pick up the other end to match up with this other end. Then the center front area is going to be the folded part. So we'll start to take our measurements accordingly. This is actually a very simple and cute dress. So on the neckline, I'm going to take my neck width at 3.5 inches. And I'm taking my neck depth for the back at 1.5 inches. Then the neck depth for the front, I took 3.5 inches too. And I'm going to connect it back to the 3.5 inches. Then I have a keyhole at 4 inches. So I'll just mark 4 inches from the neck depth for the front. Then I'll come to the end of the sleeve. I am going to measure 18 inches on that part for my puff sleeve. So I'll go in by 4 inches from that end, and I'm going to mark 4 inches from that point all the way to the hemline. So I'll make a kimono curve at that point. So we are almost done with this dress. The next thing we are going to do right now is to cut out this piece. So I'll go ahead and cut out this piece on the side, and then cut out the neckline for the back as well. So when I open up my dress, I'm going to cut out the front neckline and the keyhole. So make sure you match it up very well on the shoulder line before you cut out. So I'll just go ahead and cut out that neckline for the front and open up the keyhole up to the 4 inches marking. So the next thing we are going to do right now is to create a facing for this dress. So the facing is going to be at the front piece. So I actually hasted this fabric. I'm using a Dolphin satin fabric. I hasted it. So make sure you hasted it so it relaxes nice and flat for you. So I'll just go ahead and pin all of these parts. Make sure you pin them at the folded center front and center back. So make sure your fabric for your facing really covers the neckline. So I just cut out the neckline, as you can see. So after cutting out the neckline, I'm going to open up the keyhole for the facing up to the 4 inches line. So I'm going to take off the fabric so we can start constructing on the facing. So the first measurement I'm going to take at the back is 4.5 inches. So after taking the 4.5 inches, I'll just go and identify the shoulder line. So identify the shoulder line because that part is a squared edge. Then you measure 4 inches on the shoulder line. So I'll just measure 4 inches at that line. And then use a straight ruler to connect from that line vertically and connect horizontally. So I'll just have a squared edge, unless you want to make that part rounded too. So from the front neckline, I'll start to measure 4 inches, 4 inches. So once I get to the keyhole, I'll start to measure 3 inches. I'll measure 3 inches, and from the keyhole, I'll come down by 4 inches. And then I'm going to curve it from that point to the 3 inches into the 4 inches. So now we are going to cut out what we have on our facing, as you can see. So I'll just go ahead and cut it out. So after cutting it out right now, we have our facing. So the next thing I'm going to do is to turn my facing with bias. So I'm going to use my bias to turn that piece. So I'll just place it this way and sew a single stitch. So I'll go over to my machine now to sew my bias. Just open it up and sew following the bias seam allowance. So I'm done sewing. This is what I came out with. So I'll use my iron right now to iron the edges. So you are going to bring the bias inwards. You can see how I'm holding it at the edges, and then give it a good press all around. So using this method is very easy for you to turn your facing. So you can see what I have right there. So I'm going to place this facing on the fabric right now. But before that, make sure you also give it a good press. So I'm going to open up the back piece. This is the back part of this fabric. So you are going to place the facing right side to the wrong side of the fabric and secure with your pins all around. So I'm going to pin. Make sure you pin and arrange the facing with the fabric neckline accordingly. So this is it. So once I'm done pinning, I'm going to chalk that part. So I'm going to sew half an inch on the part I chalked into the keyhole. So here I'm done. So I'm going to make a mark at that keyhole. Just cut through it so it will be easy for you to cut, and notch around the neckline too. So I'll flip all my seams to the fabric right now and top stitch. So after top stitching, I'm going to turn the right side of my fabric, so we'll be able to bring out the facing to the front side. So I'll now turn that edge. Just take your time and turn the edges. Bring out all the edges accordingly. So after bringing it out, I'll begin to arrange them on the neckline. I'm going to secure with my pins all around, so I'll be able to top stitch once I get to my sewing machine. So I'll just go ahead and pin like that. So I'll pin all the edges, and then I'm going to take it to my machine. I'm going to stitch just very close to the facing. I'll top stitch close to the facing all around. So I'm done top stitching. I'm going to give it a good press to relax the neckline. So you just iron it out and relax the neckline. So once that is done, that part is ready. So we want to go over to the sleeve area right now. So here is my sleeve. I'll just fold in my sleeve so I'll be able to put my elastic. That is my sleeve casing. So my elastic is 11 inches in length. I'm going to use my safety pin after the casing to insert on it. But before that, I want to cut out that 4 inches fabric for my drawstring. Remember the part we cut on the side of this dress. Just cut it into 2. And after cutting it into 2, you'll be having 2 inches for each. So these 2 inches I have for each right now. I'm going to join them one after the other. I'll just pick them like this, like that, and join them to form one rope. So I'll do that for the 4 of them. This is the second one, the third one, and the fourth one. So I will head over to the sewing machine right now to join them, and then I'm going to fold it in the normal way we fold it and top stitch on it. So my casing is ready for my elastic right now. So I just go ahead and pass my elastic. So I pass it through the casing. So once I'm getting to the end of that elastic, I'll stop passing it so it does not slip in. I'll just go ahead and stitch the side of it. So you can see where I stopped. I'll just stop stitch on that part before I continue. So here my elastic is very much ready. Next is to close the side of this dress. So I'll go ahead and close it at 1 inch. But before that, make sure you hem the down piece. You can see I hem the down piece. This is a drawstring. You need to hem the down piece of it. So I'll sew at 1 inch. After sewing, I'll just make a notch on the curvy part of that sleeve and come down by 2 inches and make another notch for the drawstring. So I came down by 2 inches. This is the part we are going to sew the drawstring. So I will just go over to the machine. These are my ropes. I have 4 pieces of them. I will flip the seam allowances to serve as the casing for this drawstring. So I'll open it up like this on the machine, and then I'm going to tuck in 1 drawstring on the left side and another drawstring on the right side. So I make sure I pull out a little of it before I stitch on it. Of course, I'm going to show you how to go about it as we get to the machine right now. So now I'm going to put that seam allowance area where we want to sew our drawstring. So I'm going to spread open the fabric like that. Then this is my seam allowance. So I'll put my rope right and left. Put the other one on the right. Then I'm going to fold, but I'm going to top stitch right now, but you have to fold in the little seam allowance on the side so you can top stitch on top of it. So I just back stitch and top stitch. Then I'll start to put the rope inside and fold in 1/2 inch to cover it. Please don't stitch on the rope. As you are doing this, be careful you are filling your rope, so you don't stitch on the rope and at the end of the day it's not going to draw for you. So you can see me inserting the drawstring and folding 1/2 inch or a little before 1/2 inch just to cover that part neatly. So I'll stitch to the end of it. You can see my hem allowance was already stitched, and this makes it easy for us. So after stitching on one side, I'm going to go over to the other side too, and I'll also fold in 1/2 inch like that. I'll also sew to the end. So once I get to the end, that is it for one side. So I'm going to repeat what I'm doing right here on the other side as well, and you have a beautiful drawstring on the side. So this is what I got after I'm done. So you just pull it out to your taste. So you can adjust it to whichever length you want before you tie. And you can see we have gradually come to the end of this tutorial. So this is one side I just stitched now. I also stitched the other side, and I'm also ruching it as well. So if you have watched up to this moment, what are you waiting for? Why not subscribe to Simrite YouTube channel and turn on your notification bell? So you can see this facing part, you can bead or you can stone. Thank you for watching.